Get started. I know some people are still joining. My name is Malin Pro. I'm the Senior Associate of Communications here at Out and Equal. Thank you all so much for joining today's call. We will be covering the 2020 Summit Engagement Center and Career Fair tutorial. We are only about a month away, a little over a month away from this year's Workplace Summit, so we hope that you all are just as excited as we are and ready to learn more about what this year's summit will look like in a virtual capacity. I want to start off again with a huge thank you to everyone who is on today's call and every company represented. We could not do this work without you, so thank you so much for your continued support of Out and Equal and in this fight for LGBTQ equality. So we're going to go to the logistics slide. Before we get started on today's call, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items. As you all have noticed by now, your lines are muted and your videos are off. We will be going over in the first half of the call our presentation and save time at the end for questions. So if you have any questions, please enter those into the question and answer box on Zoom, and our team will get to those throughout the call as you're chatting them in and at the end of the call. So please hang tight to your questions or enter them in throughout, and we'll get to those at the end. If you have any questions after the call, please reach out to partnerships@outandequal.org, and our team will respond quickly to your questions. We are recording today's call as well, and we will send that recording and a copy of the slide deck after the call that you can share with your colleagues who couldn't make it. Additionally, if you're having any technical difficulties, please use the chat function or reach out to your contact Out and Equal, and we will help you as soon as possible. So we can go to the agenda slide. Today, we will be going over the Engagement Center, building the Engagement Center with tips and tricks and how this will look in our virtual platform. And we will also be going over Career Fair, the Out and Equal Summit Career Fair, tips and tricks, and then we will save time at the end for your questions. You're going to hear from a couple of staff members today, some familiar faces, maybe some new if you're new to the Out and Equal family. So we can go to the speaker slide. You're going to hear from Kiara Jackson, our events director here at Out and Equal. You're going to hear from Derek Jondu, our senior manager of corporate engagement. You're going to hear from Adam Marquez, our senior director of corporate engagement, and then myself, Madeline. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started on our content today, and I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Adam.
Thanks, Madeline. Hello, everyone, and thanks again for joining us today. We are getting so excited for the upcoming summit and are thrilled that you, our most valued partners, will not only be joining us for this very special week, which of course will be filled with all the top-notch learning and engagement you've come to expect from Summit, but you will also have a more elevated presence at this year's virtual affair because you have the benefit of participating in this year's Engagement Center. So this year's Virtual Engagement Center will be a little different than the traditional in-person affair. Firstly, your booths will actually be all set and ready to go a week before Summit even begins. So your opportunity to position yourself as a visible and proud partner of Out and Equal, as well as a great place to work for LGBTQ equality, will be on full display for a much longer time than the in-person event. Participation in the Engagement Center is a benefit only available to Out and Equal partners. And since you are one of the companies that has chosen to secure a virtual booth this year, you will be able to customize your own special space within this year's virtual world. Okay, so let's get into some details. So technically the daily hours that the Engagement Center will be live or open will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. and then from 12:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern times, as well as the Career Fair hours of 12:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. My colleague Derek will chat more about the Career Fair a bit later on the call. And so the live or open hours basically means we'll be encouraging attendees to peruse the booths during these hours if they aren't attending sessions. That means we're also encouraging partners to staff their booths with at least 2 representatives during these times. We recommend perhaps you divide each day into 2 shifts so that representatives can rotate out and take a break. But also keep in mind that because attendees will be able to visit your virtual booth really at any time once the Summit platform goes live on September 28th, which is a full week before Summit starts, you should strongly consider customizing your booth so that it tells the story about why your company is at Summit and why attendees should want to connect with you. So to get to your booth, attendees will go to the top of the website, hover over the Engagement Center and click Virtual Booths. It will then take attendees to the list of all Engagement Center participants with their logos, and it will be arranged by alphabetical order. Attendees can either scroll through the list of Engagement Center participants, or they can type in the name of a specific company in the upper right-hand search bar. Click on the company box and you'll be taken into the virtual booth. And so here we are inside a virtual booth. What's really awesome with the virtual platform this year is you will have the ability to customize your booth with a number of exciting elements. We're recommending that each company curate their booths with an opening paragraph, setting the tone of your booth. You could say something like why you are at Summit or what makes you unique within the LGBTQ workplace world. We do encourage you to try and keep the paragraph to 250 words or less. Website links, consider one link to content relevant to your company's DEI and LGBTQ journey. And then if you want to feature your company's current job opportunities, you can include that link next, and it will actually show up as a big blue button that says job opportunities. Also, tags will automatically appear on your page showing that you're an Out and Equal partner and a career fair participant, and it will also display your partner level. We also recommend including one graphic that reinforces your brand. This is a great place to feature your partner ad, which, by the way, will also be featured in the impact report that will be distributed to all attendees after the conclusion of Summit. And in addition, you'll have the opportunity to embed a video link within your booth that tells a story about your organization. And of course, what's an engagement center without people to engage with? So you will also have the ability to staff your booth with up to 8 company representatives that can be available for live chats within the booth, who can search for and reach out to attendees of interest, and can also schedule one-on-one meetings with attendees. Each representative can have a headshot, their name, title, their pronouns, and then even a short bio when you click on their photo. If your company is presenting a workshop or a plenary, those specific events will show up in your booth as Summit Showcase tags, and attendees can click over to those events directly from your booth and add them to their schedule. And for those companies that want to provide some sort of promotional deal or coupon to attendees, you can add a link for that to your build out and it will show up in your booth as well. Now, there are a few companies that secured premium booths, and for those booths, we will send some targeted messaging or push notifications to attendees during the week of Summit to encourage them to visit your booth. Your account manager will reach out to you directly to provide more information on this opportunity. And finally, a really cool aspect of being in this virtual engagement center environment is that you'll actually be able to run reports on the back end to track visits to your booth, even when your representatives aren't there staffing it. So you can see who's been coming and going and potentially follow up with those visitors you may be interested in talking to. Okay, so now that you've got the lay of the land, I'm going to pass it over to my amazingly talented coworker and director of events, Kira Jackson, who certainly has an abundantly full plate as we speed closer and closer to Summit. She will take you step by step through actually building out these features of your Engagement Center booth and also show you how to run the visitor tracking report. So without further ado, Kira, please take it away.
Thanks so much, Adam. And thanks again for everyone who's joining us today. So I'm going to share my screen with you all. Okay, so before I dive into Pathable, I'd like to highlight that booth representatives will be able to preview our full event platform. So what that means is we are still in the process of building out our site, so it's not finalized. Additionally, and most importantly, booth representatives will be able to view our agenda, which is still a work in progress within Pathable. So that means they will not only be able to view all our sessions, but also reserve a spot in a session. So we kindly ask for booth representatives to refrain from reserving spots in any sessions until Monday, September 28th, which is the date when all attendees have access to the platform. We will be auditing all of our sessions to ensure that individuals with early access have not reserved spots, but please just make it easy on us and hold off on doing so until that September 28th date. Okay, now on to the exciting stuff. On Tuesday, September 8th, each booth representative will receive a unique email from Pathable to grant them access to the platform. This will be sent to the email address that individuals provided during the registration process. So the first page you'll see once you've logged on is the Edit My Profile page, which is this screen here. Booth representatives can either complete their profile at that time or they can do so later. While some of this information will be populated based on the information you provided during the registration process, please make sure you complete your profile to maximize your experience during Summit. So I'm just going to quickly scroll so you can kind of see all the different elements you can add and update to your booth. To your profile. When you're ready to start building out your virtual booth, you will go over here to the Account tab and select Edit My Organization, which will take you to this screen. So I'm going to go through all these different tabs. I'm going to start with the Basics tab. Your name, the company name, will automatically be populated in here. Your page will, of course, be empty aside from your name, but for the purpose of today, I'm highlighting a mock booth we've already completed just to show you all the different elements. So again, here's where you would enter your or upload your logo. I'm going to skip this section here for now. I'll circle back towards the end of my section. And as Adam pointed out, these are kind of all of the sections that he reviewed that you will want to, the different elements of your booth. So here's where the two different links are. If you are doing one link for your job opportunities, you'd want to put it in this job opportunities field to make sure it shows up as a button. Otherwise, you can put both of your links in the same field that is titled links. Summit deals and promo, if you're offering one for our attendees, you would enter it here. The tags field, all of our partners, you'll want to select this partner. And then if you're participating in the career fair, please make sure you select the career fair option. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to select it. Down below, you'll see the sponsor ad section or the graphic section. I do want to just point out that once you've uploaded it, you can click on the actual file and play around with the different sizing. So if you would like it larger, you can have it larger. If you feel that that's too big for your booth, you can obviously adjust the size as well. And then last but not least is the video link. And we've received some questions about specs. This is a link, so you don't need to worry about, a file type. You'll just need to input the link to the video. And I do want to point out that if a field is left blank, so for instance, if you do not have a Summit Deals and Promo section, the entire section, meaning the heading as well as the content, will not show up in your booth. And when I show you what the finished booth might look like, I will show that the Summit Deals and Promos is not listed since this field is empty. So over on the right-hand side, you will see your team members who have been added, which will be done by Out and Equal staff. As we've noted previously, each company receives 8 booth representatives. However, you can see there is a new member button. So there is an option to add additional people, but please keep your total number to 8 total folks for your company's contingency for representing your booth. If booth reps have not completed their profile, particularly they have not uploaded a photo, this is how it will look. So obviously you just want to make sure all of your reps have updated their information in their profile, especially their photos, just so it doesn't show a ghost photo. And if you want to make edits, after you've added information, just make sure you go down here and click the Save button. Once you do so, it will take you to your booth. If you do want to make edits, all you have to do is go back to the Account tab, Edit My Organization, and it will take you right back there. If you realize, again, maybe the graphic you added was too large or you realize there's a typo, you can definitely go back and make edits accordingly. I do want to show you another way to access your booth, which Adam also pointed out, is you would go to the Engagement Center tab, select Virtual Booths, and then click on your booth. Again, we're using Acme as an example, so you would click on Acme and it would show what the booth is going to look like. And while all booth representatives do have the capability to build out your booth, we do encourage each company to identify one of your booth representatives as the lead to build out your booth in order to avoid multiple people making edits or changes. So it's just one way to ensure that you're, not, somebody's not also adding something and you're seeing duplicate information or links are being removed. So I will go back to edit my organization, and I want to go over the rest of these tabs. So I'm going to skip leads temporarily. If you go to the visits tab, this is what Adam had mentioned about being able to see who is coming to visit your booth. So again, the visits tab will show every single person who's come to your booth along with their company name, how many visits, how many times they have visited, and then the date. If you go over to these settings over here with the 3 dots, you can see for all of these attendees, you can click and you can see, view their profile, you can send them a message or schedule a meeting, which Derek will preview in a little bit. If you actually click into a person, you can see that there's a field to type some notes. So if you met with somebody and you had a great conversation, you want to kind of make some notes about it, this is an area to do that. And you would just obviously want to make sure you push save at the end of that. And then the lead section is also shows the visits, but if an attendee has selected request info from your booth and they have submitted a message, they will then become a lead. So again, the same options apply here, and you can also click in to see how many times this person has visited, and then you can see the message here from that individual. And then I would also like to point out you can download these leads. And so you could do that during Summit. You'll also have access after Summit. So just make sure you download the leads prior to the site, before you have your access to the site ends. Just want to make sure that you download these leads. And then there's these 2 polls, these 2 tabs, polls and files. These are bonus features your company can choose to utilize. If you would like to include a poll for attendees to complete, I just want to point out it will display at the very bottom on the left-hand side of your virtual booth. And then if you want to add a file to your booth, it will appear on the right side above the showcase section. And as a friendly reminder for individuals who are booth representatives only, so that means they are not registered to attend Summit, those folks will only have access to your virtual booth. So that means they will be able to use all the functions I just reviewed, as well as talking to attendees live, which I will go over next, but they will not be able to attend any Summit programming. So once you have finalized your booth elements, your booth will look something like this. Again, if you do not want to include certain fields, they will not show up. And as I mentioned, we did not include anything about the Summit deals and promos, so you can see that that section in the header is completely missing from the booth. As a reminder, the showcase section, this is something that Out and Equal will manage. So if your company is presenting during a session, these will automatically appear in your booth. So there's nothing for you to do for these to show up here. And the last feature I want to review is this video chat live button. All partners will be able to video chat live with attendees during the live hours of the Engagement Center. Partners can opt to have all 8 of your booth representatives present during those live hours, or as few as 1 to 2, whatever makes the most sense for your company and staffing. For our partners who do not have any Zoom restrictions, attendees will click this light blue button. This will take them into a Zoom meeting where your booth representatives will be waiting to chat. Similar to an in-person conversation at our Engagement Center, booth reps can decide to speak as a full group with attendees, or if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with a particular attendee, the booth representative can move that individual into a breakout room to have a more private conversation. In regards to our partners who do have some Zoom restrictions, I'm going to go back to our slide deck to review how this video chat feature can still work for your company. Okay. So this is the fields in the basic tab that I mentioned I was going to circle back around to. So this alternate video chat live link. So instead of attendees using the light blue button to join the video chat, we've created a section titled Alternative Video Chat Live Link for your company to input your approved video conferencing platform link. The Pathable system will not permit us to remove the light blue button for those partners who do need to use a link. So unfortunately, the light blue button will still appear in your virtual booth. However, we will address this in our Summit Know Before You Go call to alert attendees that there are 2 different ways to connect live with booth representatives. If we can go to the next slide, I just want to show you what this looks like when your booth is launched and live. And we will also share the text notated in this section so you can copy and paste it into the field for your convenience. So again, the top part that is in bold and black lettering, we will copy that text and send it to those folks who do have Zoom restrictions. And then the only thing you would need to do is when you go to edit your organization in this section, you'll need to make sure you put the appropriate link, whether it's WebEx, Microsoft Teams, you'll want to include that link there for attendees to click and be able to talk to you live. So my final note is that Pathable is very user-friendly, so I hope you find building out your booth to be seamless. Once you've made an edit to your virtual booth, it should immediately update and you'll be able to see your changes within seconds. And of course, we're here to help, so if you have any questions, reach out and we will be happy to assist you with any issues you are having. And with that, I will turn it over to my colleague, Derek.
Hi, thanks so much, Kira. Hello, everybody. Derek Jandu coming to you from San Francisco, California, where it's sunny and albeit a little bit smoky. So recruiters and talent acquisition staff, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Details about our first ever virtual career fair. So this year, we're taking full advantage of our digital capabilities, thanks for the slide turn, capabilities, and we hope and expect that it'll enhance the career fair experience for partners and job seekers alike. Now, while not in person, I'm sure you'll agree that the digital networking experience really does reflect the new virtual reality we're all living, working, and indeed recruiting and hiring in. But I don't have to tell you that. So the official career fair hours are designated from 12:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern on that Thursday of Summit, but the virtual platform actually enables employers to review and directly contact interested candidates as soon as the platform goes live on September 28th. So starting on the 28th of this month, because it's already September, Summit attendees who are interested in exploring career opportunities, they'll be able to load their LinkedIn profile to their Summit platform profile, say that 3 times fast, and recruiters can search attendees by company, industry, function, even title, and of course, whether or not they're seeking job opportunities. So in that way, partners will be empowered to see and connect with attendees that visit their booth. So you talent acquisition folks, you'll be able to communicate directly with attendees and schedule private meetings with candidates. And in addition, you know, as Adam mentioned, we're offering push notifications to top level partners to promote future job postings throughout the summit. Adam also mentioned that all partners have a virtual booth have the option to receive Engagement Center only registrations. And again, that is meant to staff the booth so that those with full registrations can fully engage in the summit programming throughout the week. So I'll do a little demo of the functions in a moment, but we'll go to the next slide. From an attendee perspective, now while the career fair is not the main focus of our mission here at Out and Equal, we know it's extremely valuable to job seekers because it gives them direct access to employers like you that are all leading the way in diversity, inclusion, and of course, belonging. So from a job seeker's perspective, they'll have the ability to indicate their interest in new job openings or career discussions, communicate directly with partner staff, that's you, request appointments to meet with recruiters, and of course, visit virtual booths and connect with company representatives throughout Summit, and not just during the career fair hours. With that, I'll launch into a little bit of an overview of the candidate search function. So I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me while I make this transition. So if I was a recruiter and I was interested in searching for a particular role to be filled, I would begin by going to the People tab here, and then I'd move down to the attendees. While, of course, currently we have a lot of dummy data in here, and so, for example, Michael Cox on our board, he's not probably interested in job opportunities, but for demonstration purposes, we have these people loaded. If I go to the right here, and I hope it's showing up correctly on your screen, I have the search function here, and I'll be able to filter, of course, by name, by company, but most importantly, whether or not folks are interested in career opportunities. So I'm going to go ahead and select yes. From there, I'll have filtered out all those that are not looking for career opportunities or job opportunities, and I will have the opportunity then to search by industry. But today, I'm particularly looking for a role in my communications group, and so in my corporate communications group, I'd like to fill a role. So I'm going to go ahead and filter for. Industry for communications. So I'll go down here to meeting communications. It will then show me all the folks that are available to meet that are in the communications field. I stumble upon Madison Leroy. She is a senior manager of communications. Again, this is dummy data. If I wanted to, I could click here and add her to a list of folks that I would like to meet. But most importantly, I will be able to move over here and schedule a meeting with Madison. Of course, we have her more of her information here, her bio, and perhaps most valuable, her LinkedIn profile, which if I click will load and I'd be able to review in detail. At a point in which I've decided that I'd like to meet her, I will just click schedule a meeting. And you'll see I have the opportunity to add a colleague. And so, for example, if I wanted another colleague to join this conversation, let's use Kira as an example. I will select Kira, who is a colleague of mine, and I will continue. From then, I will see Madison's schedule for the week. Obviously, it's not populated just yet because she doesn't have a schedule just yet, but I will find an open slot. I'll be able to name the subject, whatever it must be, and fill in whatever content I'd like, and I'll send that invitation to Madison, and hopefully she'll accept, and we'll be able to continue our conversations about roles and opportunities at Acme. With that, I will move back to our presentation and cover some key dates and deadlines before we move on to the question and answer portion of the call. Most recently, we've extended the deadline for the summit ad. So I know that's really important to some folks. We are giving you until September 7th to submit that digital ad. This year, unlike other years, all partners at all levels have the opportunity to submit that ad. So I hope you take advantage of that. Other dates include September 8th for those companies at the titanium, platinum, gold, silver, and bronze level. So that's bronze and above. Please submit your board meet and greet attendees. You should have received an email from that. Please reach out to your engagement manager if you have not, or if you need some clarification. Also on September 8th, the Engagement Center will be ready for you to build out your booth. So that's an important date for the folks on this call. September 21st, we have 2 deadlines, of course, to register the Engagement Center representatives, those 8 that you have designated. And then also on September 21st, we are highly encouraging that all partners have their registrants register by that day. And that's because as partners, we want you and your people to have first priority for those workshops and sessions that may reach some capacity. And as such, we're giving you this date. And so please do take advantage of that. Encourage your folks to enroll by that time. And then starting September 28th, that's the big day that the platform goes live. Again, attendees will have the ability to update their profiles, add their LinkedIn, and you will have the opportunity then to search and reach out to them. Finally, October 1st is the final date in which partner registration codes expire. And with that, I'll pass it back to Madeline so we can move on to question and answers, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions coming through.
Yes, hello everyone. All right, you all have been typing a lot of questions, so we're really excited to get to all of those, and they're great questions. So thank you all so much for putting those in the Q&A box. I'm going to do some skipping around, so please bear with us as we answer these questions. So the first question I see is, what is the difference, I think this is for you, Derek, between want to meet and meet in the career fair backend? So will the notifications be the same for the attendees, or what will that look like?
Great question. The want to meet is essentially, I believe, a list in which you'll have an ongoing list in which you'll be able to have a sort of a group of folks that you want to reach out to. But as far as how it appears on the attendee side, Kira, can you speak to that?
Yes, happy to jump in. So you're correct. The want to meet is just like an internal list for you. If you mark this person as somebody you want to meet. But then if you're scheduling a meeting, that is separate, and sending a message is also separate. So those will be, this is also kind of addressing another question. If you want to send a message to somebody or schedule a meeting, if they will pop up in Pathable as a notification for that individual to either reply to the message or to accept the calendar or the meeting request.
Great, thank you. Our next question is, are we required to staff the video chat live during live hours? Can that be turned off, or is that a requirement?
I'll jump in on this one as well. So that is something that is available for all partners with a booth. If you are thinking that staffing may not work, I would encourage you to reach out to your account manager, and we can kind of do a one-off. But we do encourage you to use that chat live feature. So again, if it's something that you know for sure you're not going to use at all, please reach out to your Out and Equal account manager. Otherwise, if you're only staffing it during certain hours, what it will look like is someone would go in to the live booth and nobody would be there. So we do want to try to maximize our attendees' experience, obviously, and also your time as well. So just connect with us, and we'll try to do our best to work around anybody who is not planning on using their live chat feature at all.
Great, thank you, Kira. And Madeline, while we're going through some of these questions, Madeline Jalpi, do you mind going back to the key dates slide just so folks can look at that a little bit longer? So we have a question. Will there be any exceptions to the 9/25 deadline for edits? If so, what's the process for that? Should people reach out to their contact, or how should people go about that?
So the date of September 25th, that is very intentional because, as I mentioned previously, all of our attendees will have access to the virtual platform Pathable on September 28th. So what that would look like if your booth is, like, let's say maybe it's missing, if you're not ready on the 25th and you can get it done on the 26th, that would work. But if let's say you can't get it done until September 30th, what that would look like is people will be able to go into the booth, and either it'll be a completely empty booth, which obviously you wouldn't want that to happen, or maybe a link is missing. So we're just trying to optimize, our attendees' user experience for that September 28th date to ensure that all of the booth elements are completed prior to them having access on the 28th.
Great, thank you. Can someone on the Out and Equal staff go over the difference between engagement center hours throughout the week and the career fair hours throughout the week, and just go over those timings one more time?
I'm happy to do that. This is Adam. Hi, everyone. So a reminder that your booths will be pretty much kind of open for people to come into, at any time starting on that September 28th. So you'll want to have it set and ready to go. And then the times that we've designated during the week of Summit for you to have representatives, engagement center representatives there to staff the booth, to interact with folks, answer questions, is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then there's that break there from 11 a.m. to about 12:30 p.m. on those days, because that's when the plenaries are going to be. So we don't want to take anybody away from everybody gathering to attend the plenaries. And then they'll resume the hours from 12:30 to 4 p.m. Those are Eastern times. And then for the career fair, which is on Thursday from 12:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, that's time we've specifically set aside so that engagement center reps and attendees can schedule meetings, they can schedule conversations. We will try not to put as too much actual summit content with workshops and plenaries and stuff around that time, so that people are more free to be able to actually engage in the career fair. But as we've mentioned, really any time during that week, you can be reaching out, you can be scheduling one-on-ones, folks can be visiting your booth. But we just wanted to make sure that we actually designated certain times during that week so that you can not be as distracted or pulled away from other aspects of Summit.
Great.
And Madeline, actually, before you jump to the next question, just to Adam's point, I do want to reiterate that, you know, as Adam said, yes, the career fair is scheduled on Thursday between specific hours, but that does not mean that the career fair is only one day. So going back to that September 25th deadline of having your booth completed, technically attendees could start, you know, looking at booths and deciding, oh, there's a career, this company has, you know, job opportunities at the list and wants to meet, and you could meet if you wanted to. Again, there's specific live hours taking place during Summit, but if you wanted to, you had some free time the week prior, you could schedule a meeting with an attendee that the week of September 28th to meet with them prior to Summit even kicking off. So just kind of trying to tie those two together of why it's important to have your booth completed by September 28th, but also highlighting that the career fair is not just one day this year, and you can really utilize the week prior as well as the full week birthday of Summit to engage and schedule meetings and send messages.
Great, thank you. So we have multiple questions about capacity, and is it necessary to staff the full days on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday? And if a company cannot staff the full days, what should they do for their booth?
Yeah, to the point I made earlier about you know, contacting your account manager. Again, if you are not planning at all to use the chat live feature, definitely let us know so we can we could remove that if you do not want to opt into that feature. But again, you have 8 booth representatives, but that does not mean that all 8 need to be present during those live hours. If it's only one person, or you want to do different shifts, you know, each person has like a 2-hour shift, or they might overlap. That's entirely up to your company and how staffing is working. But again, if you're not planning on using the chat feature at all, please let us know.
And I would just add to that. So if there's maybe 1 or 2 hours, you know, each day that you don't have a representative there, it's okay. You know, you will be able to go in and see those folks who maybe visited your booth when you weren't there. It's just that you won't have that direct ability to interact at that time. So that's why we do think 8 folks should be enough if you spread it out throughout the week and alternate on shifts. But if there's going to be a little pocket of time where there isn't somebody there, that's okay. Just like in person, you know, if there's some times where people may not be at the booth. It doesn't mean you can't take advantage of those features when you do have folks at the booth.
Great, thank you. So we have several questions about the career fair chatting one-on-one. So we have 3 questions that I'm looking at, and we can go one by one. The first question is, do all of the one-on-one chats need to be scheduled prior to the fair, or will there be opportunities for candidates to just drop in the booth and check in on representatives in real time?
I'll take that one. That's a great question. The chatting opportunities are available throughout the week, like just like Kira had mentioned. And so it doesn't necessarily need to be within those career fair hours. We encourage you to take advantage of hours outside of the career fair, in fact.
And Derek, can we just go on that people can just, without any sort of planning, hop into a booth during the career fair?
Yes.
Okay, good. We had a couple questions about that, just to reiterate. And while you're on camera, Derek, before you go anywhere, is the text chat available during career fair or only video chat? So can people chat back and forth, or do you have to be talking on video?
And Kira can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can chat throughout. It doesn't necessarily have to be by video.
Okay. And then going off of that, can multiple chats happen at the same time?
I just want to clarify by chat. So there's messages. There's not like, like how Slack operates, right? Where there's a chat feature. It would be messages you're exchanging back and forth. And then if there's a video, like you want to schedule a meeting, you can of course choose not to be on video and have a meeting that way, or be on video. But the messages can happen from September 28th throughout Summit.
Great. And one more chat question that just came in. Hopefully that'll help everybody with the chat questions. When scheduling the one-on-ones, would that direct people to a Zoom built into the platform, or would anyone have to provide their own corporate Zoom room?
Great question. It is all through Pathable's Zoom, so there's no need to provide your own link. However, and I will be addressing this, we'll be sending out a Zoom restriction kind of workaround document shortly in the coming week or so, is that similar to what I went over for Zoom restrictions for the chat live feature, is if your company does not support Zoom, is when you're scheduling a meeting, you can, in the message where Derek said, let's chat, you can say, please use this link, which would be your, WebEx or your Microsoft Teams, whatever platform your company does support. You could include that link in there to share with that individual or the group of people that you're meeting with, to say, please use this link instead. Conversely, if someone has reached out to you and they are expecting to meet in Zoom on Pathable, you can also say, hey, apologies, I can't use the Zoom link. Here's my personal, our company WebEx link. Let's meet here.
Great, thank you. We have a question. Will companies receive a spreadsheet of all participants who visited the booth throughout the summit?
Another good question. That's actually something that you will be able to track in real time on the back end. So when I shared my screen and you go to edit my organization, there's those 4 tabs: basic, five tabs: basics, leads, visits, polls, and files. The visits tab and the polls tab, visits tab and the leads tab will capture all that information for you, and you can download that and it will be a spreadsheet for you to use throughout Summit as well as after Summit is over.
Great, thank you.
And I guess I should also just add that when you're communicating with people in Pathable, it's not to their email, it's through Pathable. So if you would like to, continue the conversation, you can, definitely request their email address. But it's not, once the Pathable site for Workplace Summit closes, you would no longer be able to communicate with those individuals. So if there is somebody you're extremely interested in, I would suggest making sure you grab their, exchange email information, since that is not how you communicate in Pathable. It's just through the message through their personal accounts.
Great. Switching it up a little bit, we have a question. Will the summit ad we provided or will provide be at the booth and somewhere else? So I guess the question is, the summit ad will be at our booth, and then where else can we expect to see our summit ad?
I can answer that. So the summit ad the main place that the summit ad will show up is in the impact report that goes to all attendees after the conclusion of summit. If you want to put that ad in your booth as your graphic, you're welcome to. You don't have to. You can put whichever graphic you'd like to in your booth. We just recommend, as a bit of symmetry and kind of being able to kind of match up things, that you use that ad. The specs might be a little bit different. I believe the ad that's going in the impact report is more horizontal. If that's not the way you want it, then you can kind of reformat it to be more vertical to kind of go with the flow of the up and down of your booth. But those are the two main places most likely that your ad will show up.
Great, thank you. So we have two similar questions that I'm going to combine back to the career fair booth. Does the chat only get initiated by visitors who visit the booth, or will the people that are staffing the booth be able to catch the people in real time and initiate a chat with them? So I can start with that one and then piggyback with another question if somebody wants to jump in. So will people staffing the booth be able to see somebody in the booth and chat them, initiate the chat, or will they have to wait for the visitor to reach out to them? So we can stop there.
With the chat live button, they'll be waiting, the booth representatives will be waiting in the Zoom room, or if you use another link, your WebEx or Microsoft Teams room, and the attendees will have to push the button or the link to go into the booth, to go into the room to video chat with you.
Okay. And if somebody is not at the booth and someone stops by, will there be any sort of notification that someone has come in, or will we just need to check in regularly?
I would say check in regularly. I can definitely follow up on the Zoom side if folks are using a WebEx or Microsoft Teams link. That would be up to, I'm not sure how that's managed from those video conferencing platform sides. But I do believe that it will not alert you that somebody is in the booth, but I'm happy to follow up with that just to make sure I have the correct answer, and we can include that in a future communication.
Great. And another booth question here. Are we able to send materials to anyone that has visited our booth? I think you addressed that a little bit earlier with the capturing the people, but if you just want to talk about how we can send materials to anyone that visited the booth.
I'm not sure I know what send materials.
So if somebody has like a brochure for their company that they want people who attended the booth to see, how would they go about sending those materials to those people?
Got it. If you want to send them a message, you can include attachments. I'm almost positive about that. So you could follow up with them after they've visited the booth and send them a message. The way Derek showed you, going to the people tab, identifying who that person is, typing their name in, selecting them, and then send a message, and you can include that attachment.
Great. All right, I'm going through all of our questions. They're still coming in. Oh, Adam, you want to hop in?
I would also mention maybe, and Kira, correct me if I'm wrong, there is that ability to add a file in the booth. So if there's a pamphlet or some sort of promotional material that you want your visitors to take away or to be able to download and access, you can upload that in the back end there under the Files tab.
That's correct. Just as far as making sure that they have it, the easiest way to do that is to send them a message with the attachment. But yes, if you upload it with a file or in the file section, it is something that attendees will be able to see and download if they visit your booth.
Great. All right, let's keep. If you have questions about your summit ad, specific questions, I think your CE account manager can chat with you all. If you want to reach out to them directly, we can also try to capture it in the chat, but I see some specific questions about company logos and ads. Adam, I don't know if you want to hop in.
That's correct. And I would just clarify that your CE account manager, your corporate engagement account manager, would either be myself, Derek Jandu, or Stephen Huey. So whoever your kind of main point of contact within your organization is, they most likely will already have a direct communication with us. And if they have any questions, or if you have any questions, you can direct it through them, and we're happy to provide any specific specs or answer any additional questions as well.
Great, thank you. Okay, here's a creative question for the team. What are some suggestions for promoting a company's booth? So how can we get people to come to our booth? What are any tips and tricks that you all have for bringing people to visit a company's booth?
That's a good question. So
not to put everyone on the spot out, Nico, to get creative.
Yeah, I mean, so there are some companies that have either, kind of chosen to have a larger booth as one of their benefits. They've exchanged it for other things. So, what would be an in-person booth that would be larger, either people put, a car or, a big spinning wheel with, the raffle tickets and stuff like that. For those companies, we will be doing some push notifications throughout the week to encourage folks to attend their booth. But really, and we will be doing some general pushing throughout the week to get folks. We'll be reminding attendees that, hey, the career fair is open today, or be sure to visit the engagement center. If there are some promotions or some deals that the companies are interested in providing to attendees, again, reach out to your CE account manager, and we could see about potentially kind of promoting that during the week, depending on what it is. We'd have to kind of go by case basis. And then I would say just, people are going to have a lot of time to be clicking through booths. So the probability that, the majority of attendees will at least pop into your booth is pretty high. So I would say, really try to trick out your booth, make it as kind of exciting and inviting as possible. And that will allow folks to either keep coming back or tell their, coworkers who are also attending, hey, this booth, is from Acme, is really great. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. And that'll obviously promote, folks going in there as well.
Great, thank you. I think this is for you, Derek. We have the key dates on the screen, but if you don't mind going over again how a company will receive access to their booth, when they should expect that, and who it will come from, so they know to get ready for when they'll get their booth.
Sure, I was on mute. Sure, as long as you've registered your engagement center representatives by September 21st, those folks will get an invitation to get into that booth and configure it. Kira, that's correct?
Correct. We do know that the original deadline to register engagement center representatives was last week, I believe, so that had passed. But the important date that reps will be receiving the email from Pathable giving you access to your booth is September 8th. So again, we encourage you, and that's who the emails are going to, is those 8 folks. If you only have 5, it'll go to those 5. If you have 8, it'll go to those 8. But the people who have registered as a booth representative for your company, those are the folks who are going to be getting that email. And again, that date is September 8th. So while we did extend the deadline to register to have your booth reps register until September 21st, the earlier you have people who register, especially in line with that September 8th deadline, they will be able to receive that email, and then it'll be on a rolling basis, of course. If someone registers on September 10th, we'll get the email out to them at that time.
Great, thank you. So I think this question just came in as a follow-up to what Derek and Kira were saying. So if we do not have our 8 registered as of yet, should I reach out to my rep to get access to set up the booth?
So the 8 reps are the people who have access to the booth. So those are the people who need to register. So that's, otherwise, again, it would be, if 4 extra people need to have access to it, to build it out, that means that there would then be 12 people, in total, the 8 reps plus the 4 people who need to work on the booth to build it out. So the best way, the workaround is to identify your engagement center reps as early as possible, and really target that September 8th date to give you the most amount of time to be able to build out your booth.
Great, thank you.
There is, oh, sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I was just going to clarify that the folks, if you have somebody who is attending as an attendee at Summit, but also going to be an engagement center rep, they don't need to register twice. They just need to register as an attendee, and then either they or the main company contact can let CE, the account manager, or somebody from the events team, if you're receiving emails from Annalicia, let us know that that person is also going to be an engagement center rep, and we on the back end will designate them as an engagement center rep. So they will have full access to the Summit throughout the week, and they will also have access on the back end to build out the features of the booth, or to interact with other attendees as an engagement center representative. So they only need to do it either one or the other. If they're not attending the full Summit, which you will need to use one of your either purchase registrations or complimentary partner registrations to register as an attendee. Otherwise, you will need to register through a specific link that Annalicia sends out that says engagement center registration only at the bottom of that registration there, and they will then have access to all of this engagement center stuff.
Okay, that looks like that helped answer those questions. I know we're running close on time. I'll try to get to a few more questions. And then, like I said, if you have additional questions after the call, if you want to reach out to your account manager or partnerships@outandequal.org, we're happy to help you there. But I think we've gotten to almost all of the questions. For the chats, the one-on-one chats, is there a certain time frame that they will last? So do we get 10 minutes? Do we get 30 minutes? Will it automatically cut off? Can we add more time? If someone could go over the time frame for the one-on-one chats.
Great question. The example that Derek showed, when he shared his screen, you can, I think they're in 15-minute increments, and if there's time in back-to-back, so 15 plus 15, like 9 to 9:15, 9:15 to 9:30, you could schedule that to be a half-an-hour call. But the way it's set up is for 15-minute increments. And then Out and Eagle, we're not at that point yet, unfortunately, but there's also a setting to kind of dictate how long those meetings can last. So for right now, they are set up as 15-minute increments. And Madeline, if I can just jump in, there is a question about what will it look like during the career fair if we do not select that tag? Will our booth look empty or just not appear? So great question. If in your edit my organization, again, there's those tags. You will want to select partner if you're a partner, and if you're participating in the career fair, you'll select career fair. That really is just to help alert attendees when they're searching through the companies, is to say, I want to look at everybody who is participating in the career fair. That's what that is designated to do. It will not wipe your booth. Your booth will remain the same. If you're not participating in the career fair, or if you don't select that career fair tag, your booth will not be affected whatsoever. And in fact, the booths will stay exactly the same on Thursday during the career fair. So there's nothing to do once you've submitted or completed your booth by that September 25th deadline. You're good to go.
Great. And I know we are over time, so just a reminder, we will be sending a recording of this and a copy of the slide deck. So these key dates, this will not be the last time you see these dates. They will be in your inboxes in the next couple of days at the latest. And our team will be in touch throughout the process. I know there was a lot of questions about dates. I'm just going through the Q&A one last time. I know we are over time, so I don't want to keep you all. But it looks like we got to most of the questions, but like I said, we will follow up with you all either tomorrow or by the end of this week with a copy of the slide deck and the recording. And as always, please reach out if you have any additional questions that you didn't get a chance to ask, or if we missed any questions, please reach out to us. We want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and ready for this year's summit. So once again, if my colleagues need to jump in, feel free to interrupt me, but I just want to thank you all for your partnership and your commitment to inclusion and belonging and LGBTQ equality. Thank you all so much for your time today, and we will be in touch with follow-up materials shortly. Thank you all again.